Very fascinating. Let's stay on that theme of Santa Claus democracy. I get a sense that it's a democracy that, in my summary, is very transactional in nature.
Yeah.
I guess maybe I overread your lecture. I'm thinking maybe I formulated it in my mind myself. But my question there is, what do you think is a tipping point that, in your view, transformed this democracy of ours into that?
Well, we started this democracy. First of all, it was a reluctant transition. There's a book written by Claude Eke called Feasibility of Democracy in Africa. It was actually being written, or he had just finished writing it, but it hadn't been published when the tragic air crash happened. He came tumbling from the skies and died very, very tragically. Africa was robbed of one of his greatest minds throughout history when Claude Eke came crashing down. But his comrades in Codesira decided to publish it. And in my view, it is one of the best books that you can read on the conditions that and he uses Ghana a lot in a segment where he talks about a reluctant transition to democracy. So we opened up space just a little bit so that we could say that the forms of democracy had been in place and that we had democratized. That's the first part of it. As a result of which, the institutional frameworks that, for example, to track fund flows in politics are almost non-existent. You are the media guy, so you have much more information than me. But if I ask you, how much money did the sitting president spend on his campaign? How much money did his main contestant spend? Those are even starting questions. I've not got to source. CDD has tried to put out some estimates. I don't exactly understand how they were calculated, so I didn't quote them. But in other democracies, people know these things. Even when we sit here, we know the budgets of the American presidential candidates, and sometimes it's on TV, and you're saying that this person has raised this amount. Why in our own democracy do we not know this? And I have focused on the presidential contest. Remember that there are parliamentary contests going on all over. The same questions apply. So that's why I say this is the root of all evil in a Santa Claus democracy. You cannot track your fund flow. So if you and I today are in drug trade, we can carry money in sacks and give it to people who are going to become very powerful actors. And then that starts an entire chain. So we get the people there. If you and I have played big roles in sponsoring powerful, sometimes not even the people who are in office, but the kingmakers, we start to make all sorts of demands. You need to put this person here, you need to put that person there. And you see these features not just in Ghana. That's the point I was trying to make, that they are systemic defects. When we discuss them, we often come down to personalities. Yes, there's a place for that, to hold personalities accountable. But when you've now had 3.5 decades, and you can also compare it to people who have gone down the same path in other countries, especially on the continent, and they're seeing the same things, then there are some design issues that you need to look at and correct.